what makes a person? What makes a person from saying like, "Oh, I'm from America or I'm from wherever." You have mixed parentage,
Yeah.
very interesting mix of, I guess, in the parental generation of yours, you have three distinct cultures.
Mm.
You really didn't stay in any place in your childhood long enough to be from that place. And now, by your own words, you say that you're a person of the world. And I don't know if I can think of any other person I know who can pull that off as convincingly as you based on the history that you've shared. Um, I don't know, what does that make you think of? Like, why do we like segment ourselves so much as humans of saying we're from here and there when you don't
I
have
don't,
to?
it's an interesting question, and I think that it probably makes us feel somewhat safe and like we belong. When we say we're from somewhere and we're always looking for that one place. And, I think that for me, I never really, I grew up this way and I never really thought about it until probably more recently where I've been starting to understand, like really understand what it means to me and how I actually do move through the world and how that has shaped me and how, it's an interesting one, right? When you don't really you go up a certain way, you don't really consider it or you don't really reflect on it. And then, but there's like such a value in doing that and such an interesting, there's just interesting things that come from taking that moment to go like, huh, and honestly, I never really thought it was that interesting or that I just didn't because it just was so normal to me. But now I'm like, gosh, there is something important for me in this that has shaped me and that has made me who I am and made me believe the things that I believe. Like it didn't just happen. It's from a series of experiences that I've had, and that's how our maps of reality get formed. And so it's important to go and understand what that looks like, what kind of beliefs have gotten formed out of from those, and if those are really in service of where you are now, and what how you want to be moving forward. And for me, I've just really realized that there was so much value for me in the way that I was raised and in how I move through life. I really do move through life with a sense of like wonder and like possibility, and there was a time when I struggled a lot in certain ways, and that's sort of another discussion maybe or just part of it. But there is this like an innate part of me that just belongs to all of it, genuinely. Like I genuinely believe. I mean, I moved from Montreal even, and I remember thinking to myself, and I moved here to Chelsea, as we know, we talked about earlier, and I said, I remember thinking to myself, okay, well, that's it. I'm moving now. I'm no longer from Montreal, and now I'm from Chelsea. I remember that thought coming into my head, and I'm like, but why? Why do I have to give up Montreal? Why do I have to give up belonging to this beautiful city that I love so much in order to live in Chelsea? I don't. So you know what I did? I decided that quarterly I would go back and I would do all the things I loved to do in Montreal, and I would go back to my neighborhood and I would enjoy it just the same way that I enjoyed it when I lived there, as a way of just staying and belonging to this beautiful neighborhood in the city that I loved. Why did I have to give it up? Why do I have to give up belonging somewhere in order to belong somewhere else? I can belong to all of it. And so I just had this beautiful like revelation, and I did. And I invited my family to come with me. And I said, come with me. And I'm a dancer, I'm a ballroom dancer, and so I was in a studio there. And I just wanted to continue. I had a beautiful community, and I wanted to continue being in the community. And I thought, well, I'm just going to come back every 3 months and I'm going to dance with my community here, and I'm going to still be part of that community. Why not? And my family would come and we would, and they were all very sweet. And they were like, okay, mama needs to go and have her little moment. And let's go have her moment. And we did this for a year. And they were very, very respectful and very kind. And that's what I needed in order to continue feeling like I still belonged to my community in Montreal. And what happened was over that year, I started to be like, okay, maybe I don't need to come here every 3 months anymore for a whole weekend. Maybe I just need to come for the day. And so I would shorten it. And then I wouldn't come with my family. I didn't need them to come. And I would just come for the day. And then I would just do everything I needed to do in the city for a day. And I would go and get my hair done. I still go. 6 years later, I go once a month to Montreal and I get everything done there. I get my hair done. I get my facial. I do all my self-care. I buy my clothes there. The kids still have their orthodontist there. I'll take them out of school for the day and we go and we do or they get their teeth done and we go and have lunch together, and it's like, so the kids are growing up with Montreal's part of our life. It's part of where I belong, right? Montreal is a great city and it's part of who I am. Ottawa is where I go to school and it's part of who I am. Chelsea is where I live and it's part of who I am. So I'm actually raising my children in the same way, for better or worse, but it's just this feeling of like it's okay to belong to all of it and it doesn't diminish anything and it doesn't take away from anything. If anything, it enhances and it doesn't need to disorient you. It doesn't need to make you feel unsafe. It just means that in Montreal, there's things I love that make me feel alive. And so I go and do them. It's my choice to do that. And then in Ottawa, there's things that I love and I go and do those things. And in Chelsea, there's other things. So all of it exists. All of it can coexist. And for me, that is living. That is how I feel alive every day, is by being able to choose all of it or none of it. But to really, really be connected to my own choosing around what it is that I want and what makes me feel good. And it's expansive for me. And that feels nice. I love it.
So I